Hello everyone, welcome back. So I've been standing here, sitting down, standing up, trying to film an intro, trying to explain where I have been, trying to tell you guys what has happened, but I just realized that if I start talking about it, then I won't finish. So actually I don't even know where to start. I don't know if I should do a tutorial or I don't know. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick a piece of fabric and I'm going to make myself something. I'm currently traveling and I don't have a lot of headwear. I only have this scrunchie, my bonnet, and just head wraps and scarves. Like I don't have headbands or anything like that. So I'm just going to pick one single fabric and I'm just going to make, like I'm going to use only that fabric and I'm going to make different stuff. When it's done, it's done. So it's just a way of me coming back and I'm going to film it vlog style, not tutorial style. Actually, as I told you, I'm traveling, which also means my other videos will also be filmed using this style because my equipment is back home and I can't do the whole overhead shots as I normally do my tutorials, so you'll have to get used to this and just more fun sewing videos and sewing tutorials, and that's it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and go to my stash. As you can see, although I'm traveling, but I've already collected some fabric, so I'm gonna pick one and make some few pieces out of that fabric only. So let me see. So I ended up not picking anything from my fabric stash, but I picked this from my closet. So this is a wrap, the one that you tie around. My Africans, you know how we do it. This is just regular cotton, tie-dye. I think that's what you guys call it, but here we call it batik. In my language, Swahili, it's batiki. So this is the fabric that I'll be using to make whatever I'm going to make today. And my goal is to make sure I don't have scraps. I'm trying to get rid of scrap fabric. So I'll try to make products that I'll end up using the whole piece of fabric. I don't know how much it measures, but I'll measure it and I'll put the measurements on the description box. I started by looking at the fabric and I realized it had stains, but also it looks like the ends were ripped, but they just zigzagged that whole part. I wasn't worried because I knew at the end of the day whatever I'm making will be washed, and with that rip I'll do something about it at the end. So I started by measuring my fabric, and the measurements are 45 by 64. So my first project is going to be a huge scrunchie. It's something that I wanted to make, so that's what I did. When it comes to how wide the fabric was, I didn't care. I just eyeballed it. The length, I was just going to take the exact length that the fabric is, which was 64. So I cut my fabric and I also cut these things at the end. I don't know what they're called, but I just took them out and that was it. After that, I just wanted to make sure I folded the whole long piece in half, then take it to my sewing machine and sew a straight stitch all the way, just as I do all my regular scrunchies and as how you have seen them in my tutorials. There are different methods on how to make a scrunchie. Everybody has their own. With me, this is how I do mine. I like to start with start sewing few inches from where I cut it, and I'm going to do the same thing with the ends. I'm going to stop few inches before where the fabric is cut, which means I didn't sew the whole thing all together. When you do that, when you're done, you just want to turn it inside out. So as you can see, I am turning mine inside out. When I'm done turning mine inside out, the next step is I'm going to join those two ends. It's easier because, as I did earlier, I left a few inches on both sides when I was starting and when I was finishing. So I'm going to join those ends so I can make a whole long donut, and that's it. After that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in my elastic, then I'm going to close the part that I left earlier, meaning after we have put our elastic, we will still have an area that's open, and then we are just going to close that part right there. My first piece is done, and it's this extra large scrunchie, and I'm not taking it off. I'm going to go to my next project, which I think is going to be a headband, but it's going to be a little bit different. I do have a tutorial for it, but instead of doing elastic back, I'm going to do ties. So let's go back to our table. So good. We are back to my table, and by now I think you can already tell that I don't take measurements, meaning I don't have some specific measurements. Sometimes I will have a pattern already cut, not pattern really, a template, but this is what I like about sewing my own stuff is I know exactly what I want, and sometimes I measure myself as I go. So for me, normally the width does not matter. Like I don't have a specific width for my headbands. Like I'll have one that's wide, others that are thin, so it really doesn't matter. And I also wanted long, very long ties, so with this, I went with the exact length that the fabric was. So as I said earlier, my fabric was 64. I just took out the ends, and that was it. That was how long the back ties were going to be. And for the front one, I just measure how I want the ties to end. Like I measure my head, like I want them to end at a specific length. That's where I'm going to cut it. That's the beauty about making your own custom things. So I'm going to fold all pieces in half because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fold them in half, then go to my sewing machine and sew a straight stitch. Earlier I said I'm just going to do a straight stitch on all pieces, but when it comes to the ends, I wanted the triangle ends, meaning I wanted them to be pointed. So I cut a triangle on the side, just one side. So that's what I did. So we cut a triangle on one side, then hem everything except we're just not going to close. So I'm going to do that for both pieces. we're done with number 2. This is a twist headband, and instead of, yeah, I was checking if my mic is on. So instead of doing the elastic band, I like doing the ties because it gives me control. You know, sometimes when you make the one with the elastic, it's too tight and it's not comfortable. So when I do have ties, I have control on how tight I like the headband to be. And actually, I don't like it when it's like this. I like it when I fill it up. I'll probably share a tutorial next time on how I make it a little bit thick. I also just like having these long ties, and I just leave them here. But also I like when I don't want my hair to be all over me, I just tie the hair back here, and I just let this go back, and I can keep on working without my hair being all over my face. So that's number 2 from that fabric tie, actually. So I was thinking I was going to cut through it, but give me a minute. I think this would be the perfect size for a regular head wrap like this. And actually, you probably saw it. It has these things at the end, which will make it perfect for a head wrap. But also, I showed you that they probably did something to it. Maybe when they were making it, it ripped off, so they saw this part right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to cut through this fabric. I'm just going to leave it, this piece, as is, and I'm just going to make a head wrap out of it. So on this side, it's just a regular side. Nothing will happen. It won't unravel. But on this side, I have the raw ends. I might leave it, or I'm going to use my serger to make a rolling hem so it won't unravel in the future. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to go to my serger. I'll show you how I do it. I'm going to serge these ends right here, or I might, for future, if you don't have a serger, just do a regular hem. Actually, I think I'm going to do a regular hem, just like this type of hem, and so a straight line, so I can be able to wear it. I do not have to worry about this side because the way it was made, factory made, it won't unravel. So this is our last and our third piece. I am done for today. I made this extra large scrunchie, this headband, and this head wrap right here. So for all of those who will want extra instructions for this extra large scrunchie, and the method, I do have a tutorial for scrunchies, but the method with this one is a little bit simplified. It's the same, but it's simplified. I will put how I make this scrunchie, this headband right here on my Patreon. So that was it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this sewing vlog. I know it's new, but I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.